Hey, George. Good afternoon, brother. Can you hear me okay? Can you just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Make sure I got everything set right, if you don't mind. Happy Saturday, George. I don't know if you heard me. Can you just give me a thumbs up if you can hear the audio okay, if you don't mind, before I get rolling here? I don't want to start talking and have nobody hearing me. David's in the house. How you doing, brother? Appreciate you being here. Okay, thanks, George. I appreciate that. All right, guys. So I'm just going to get rolling here. Hopefully, some people will pop in. I'm going to talk a little bit. I've been getting quite a few questions about. I think that's one of the biggest questions we get is, about the diet. And I try to convince people a lot of the times that when it comes to really overall health, again, I say this 1,000 times. I would never ever say to somebody, that you shouldn't exercise or don't exercise. I think you should exercise as often as possible, as much as you can, as hard as you can, the whole bit. But at the end of the day, if you're not fueling your body the right way, if you're putting shit in your body, um, you're going to pay the price. You know what I mean? I mean, think about with your car. You make sure that you take care of the car. You put the right oil in it. You put the right gas in it. Um, and unfortunately, most of us don't have that same. We don't pay the same attention to our bodies. So that being said, I'll talk a little bit about what I do now. When I do that, I'm just going to tell you what I do and kind of how I do it. I don't want anybody to think that in any way, shape, or form I'm saying that this is the one way to do it. If you don't do it my way, then you're doing it wrong. Um, it's a trial and error thing. You have to see what type of things, what type of foods work best for your body. At the end of the day, it's not rocket science, but it's something that, again, I don't think most people put much effort into. Unfortunately, they really should. And once you figure it out, I think you'll be all the better for it. So now, I think that I when I eat what I eat, how I eat, I do it for a purpose. I have goals in mind, and that's what I think that we should all be doing is looking at what exactly is our goal. What are we trying to do? Every one of us has a different physiology. We're going to react to food differently, different types of food differently. We all have different goals. Are we looking to gain weight? Are we looking to lose weight? Are we looking to maintain weight? We all have different tastes when it comes to foods, different preferences. Um, but all that said, I don't care what your goals are, your tastes are, your preferences, your body type, your physiology. The one hard and fast rule that everybody should follow. I don't think there's any exception to this. As much as you can, as often as you can, stay away and avoid these ultra processed poison foods. They're not even foods, they're fake foods. They're just like concoctions of chemicals that they put together to keep us eating them. The food companies, these ultra processed foods, they are by far, without a doubt, and there's no debate here, these things, these foods, these fake foods are the number one driver of obesity and disease in the world, by far. It's what we're putting in our bodies, and unfortunately, the vast majority of us are putting. When we look at our diets, the bulk of our diet is made up of these foods. These fake foods, and the human body isn't designed. We're designed to run on whole unprocessed foods that come from the earth. Not Doritos, Captain Crunch, Oreos, Hot Pockets, frozen pizza, Mountain Dew, and all that shit. Okay, that's not what the human body is designed to run on. So I'll talk a little bit about what I eat, and again, it's what I eat is for a purpose, and what I don't eat is obviously for a purpose. So everybody and anybody is free to agree or disagree. Uh, everybody has their own ideas, but what I won't do, I won't entertain, and I'll never enter into a debate over what so-called diet is the best or what's better for somebody, because again, it's all, at the end of the day, it's specific to each one of us. But as long as it's whole unprocessed foods, as often as we can get it, we're all the better for it. So you can be carnivore, you can be keto, paleo, you could eat a Mediterranean diet, any combination of those. Whatever you're doing, if you're not metabolically sick, you know what I mean? And that's the key. If you have no type of sickness, then I would just say to you, good for you, and keep doing what you're doing. But if you have any type of illness, the first place you have to look is your mouth. What's on the end of your fork? What are you putting in your mouth? What are you fueling your body with? Because chances are, if you have any type of illness, it's going to be somehow, a lot of the times, a vast majority of the times, it's going to go back to, what you're putting in your body. Okay, so for you guys that are interested, on with the show here. What do I eat? How do I eat? I've said this many times before. I'm into the fasting. I typically will fast anywhere between 16 and 20 hours a day. Occasionally, I'll throw in a 24-hour fast, but generally speaking, I'm in that 18-hour range a day. So I normally give myself about a 6-hour eating window. And in that 6 hours, I have 2 meals. I don't eat anything prior to my first meal, in between meal 1 and 2, and after meal number 2. Other than, drinking my coffee, water, and things like that. So this is actually something new that I've added to my regimen. I start my day, what I've been doing is I take a large warm cup of water, and I'll do a teaspoon of pink salt, a teaspoon of magnesium, and about 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, which is good for your blood. It's an antimicrobial. And in general, that little mixture will definitely keep you regular. If there's any issues there, it's good for your gut. So I've been doing it, and I find that it's actually been helping. So that's the first thing I've been having every day. And then normally I'll have my coffee, but I'll wait at least an hour or 90 minutes after that before I have my first coffee. I always drink the coffee black. I don't use sweeteners. I don't use, creamers or anything like that. And then my first meal, usually around noontime, could be a little later than that, sometimes earlier. But again, it's going to be a minimum of 16 hours after I had my last meal. So whenever I ate last night, today I'm not going to eat unless 16 hours has passed. My meals generally revolve around eggs, meat, fish, specifically sardines, all types of meat. I eat beef, I eat pork, chicken, fatty chicken. I'll go for thighs and things like that. I'm not a big fan of the, skinless, boneless chicken breast. But generally speaking, for the most part, my first meal of the day is always going to, not always, but generally speaking, going to consist of eggs. I think eggs are almost like the perfect food. They're pretty much 50-50 when it comes to healthy fat and protein. And when you're talking protein, egg protein is pretty much the gold standard when it comes to protein. So generally, my first meal is going to be, I'll have 6 eggs. I always fry those up in just regular butter. I never ever use those spray oils, like the Pam, things like that, anything similar to that. They're toxic, those oils. It's always going to be soybean oil and canola oil. And we want to stay far, far, far away from that stuff. And then the eggs, I just, little salt and pepper, some turmeric. I'll throw on 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast, which is a great source of B vitamins. And you'll get some fiber in there and a little extra protein. I'm a big fan of cheese. I'll usually have some cheese on the side, whether it's yellow, American, Swiss. And then also with my first meal, I always have a bowl of kimchi, which is sort of like a Korean sauerkraut mixture, spicy. And I'll have that with some plain sauerkraut and some pickles. And then to finish off that first meal, again, I'm a big fan of the yogurt. Any of you that have seen any of my other videos, I've mentioned it before. I actually did a video with a couple of my favorite yogurt recipes. If anybody's interested, you can go back and just check that out. I always do full fat Greek yogurt. I don't do any type of flavored low fat bullshit. I just go for real yogurt, the way it came out of the cow. I want all the fat. Chop up some nuts in there, be it pecans or walnuts or something along those lines, some berries, blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, raspberries. And I wash that down with water and green tea. And that's really it for, that is the makeup of usually my first meal. Soon as I'm done with that, I do take a couple of supplements. And when I say supplements, I don't mean any type of bodybuilding things. I'm not doing, amino acids, BCAAs or things like that. What I take each day is between 5 and 10,000 IUs of vitamin D, which I think is very important. Most of us, the vast majority of us, are deficient in vitamin D, especially those of us that live above the equator. And now, like I said, I'm in New Jersey and it's winter time. You don't get any sun. Vitamin D is very important for a lot of reasons. So I think it would behoove most of us to be supplementing with some amount of vitamin D. I also take 15 milligrams of zinc, which could have an effect, help with your testosterone levels, as does the vitamin D. You always want to keep the vitamin D up, because as the vitamin D goes, so goes the testosterone levels in a lot of cases. I take some saw palmetto, which is purported to help with the prostate. And being advanced age like I am, I always got to think about that. I also do a half a teaspoon of acerola powder, which is the pure form of vitamin C. I don't take any type of vitamin C tablets, anything you would get, say, like in Costco or anything like that. Those tablets are going to be synthetic, and it'll say ascorbic acid, and that's a synthetic form of vitamin C. So I go for it's called acerola powder. And of late, I've been taking a shot of black seed oil. I've been doing that every day. I don't think there's anything that they don't purport that black seed oil can help with or cure, including inflammation, asthma, cholesterol levels, autoimmune disease, diabetes, just everything and everything. You can also apply it topically if you have skin conditions, psoriasis, acne, and things like that. I haven't tried it, so I can't say that it definitely works, but you could look that up if you're interested in it. It's called black seed oil. Okay, so, and then that's it for a while. Again, I won't eat anything after that until it comes time for my second meal. And again, that second meal is always going to revolve around meat or sardines. And I always advise to get, if you are inclined to try sardines, I would make sure you get sardines that are either packed in water or olive oil. A lot of times you'll see them packed in canola oil, soybean oil. I would highly advise against that. You're taking one of the healthiest foods you could eat, and you're just soaking it in toxic seed oils, which makes no sense at all. And again, if it's not sardines, it's going to be ground beef, ground pork, pork loin, chicken thighs, and something like that. Again, I'll have some cheese with it. Uh, Vegetables, I have an on again, off again relationship with. Uh, I'll do broccoli, asparagus, mushroom, and onions. A lot of times I'll put mushrooms and onions in my eggs early in the day. Um, sometimes I'll just saute up some vegetables. Again, I'm kind of off and on with them. I do them periodically. What I do very regularly is sweet potato, and I'll have that with my second meal with some coconut oil and some cinnamon. I'm a big fan of the sweet potatoes. And again, um, I'm always going to wash that down with some green tea. Uh, and really, that's it. That's kind of what I do for the day. Again, I'm having my coffee, off and on throughout the day. Pretty simple. I'm a creature of habit when it comes to eating. Again, I'm not a fan of anything processed. I try to stay away from it as much as I can. Now, another big question that I get, uh, a lot of people ask me, well, do you ever have a cheat day? Don't you ever cheat? You know, um, I, I was pretty much raised on shit food, processed food. I spent most of my adult life, eating fast food, eating in diners and things like that, eating on a go. I didn't have an eating schedule. I just ate um, whenever, wherever. I was in law enforcement for over 30 years. I worked a lot of crazy shifts. So, whether it was 3 in the afternoon or 3 in the morning, it didn't matter to me. If I was hungry, I was going to go eat. Uh, in my younger days, my go-to was, McDonald's, 3 cheeseburgers, 10-piece nugget with the sweet and sour sauce, large Coke, a couple of apple pies. Um, but, I've had my fill of that stuff. And I remember I would eat that stuff and I almost didn't chew it. I would pretty much inhale it. It would go down so quick, and almost all the time I can remember, within 15 or 20 minutes, I just felt disgusted. I wanted to stick my finger down my throat. So I don't look at that as a reward now. I like the way I eat. I enjoy what I eat. I'm satisfied. Um, so I know I can remember too being younger. And again, when you have the benefit of youth on your side, you feel like you can get away with everything, but it's adding up. Don't think it's not adding up, because at some point you're going to pay the piper. You're going to pay the price at some point. I can remember back when I was in my 20s, there was a World Gym in town. I used to go there pretty frequently. 2 blocks away was my favorite pizzeria, and my regular post-workout meal was 4 slices of pizza and a large 7-Up. And again, I got away with that because I had the benefit of youth on my side, but it catches up with you. So, as far as cheat days, if I were to go back and eat that stuff, I feel like I'm cheating myself out of feeling good. Um, and it's the same thing with alcohol. I don't drink alcohol anymore. I don't see any situation where I'll do it again. I have no desire to do it. Back in the day, uh, believe me, I'd go toe to toe with anybody, uh, you know, and it was a double-edged sword because I wasn't I always say it was a blessing and a curse where I wasn't like a pass out drunk. I could kind of drink and drink, but all that meant was that I would just stay awake longer to drink more. Um, and really, at the end of the day, I'm pretty much done with intentionally poisoning my body. So, my happiness at this point in life doesn't hinge on chocolate donuts and Coors Light anymore. So, as far as cheat days, again, I don't look forward to anything. I don't sit and have my meals and I'm not white knuckled saying, boy, I can't wait to Saturday, so I can go to McDonald's or I can go get that big pizza. Um, I don't think like that anymore. So, you know, I try to keep it simple. Again, there are a lot of people that, I hear this all the time too. A lot of guys will say, well, I could eat whatever I want and I just burn it off. That sounds good. And if you want to tell yourself that, um, go right ahead, but you're going to pay. You're going to pay the price. And again, everybody's different. We all have a different physiology. It may take you 10 years It may take the next guy 5 years. It may take the next guy 20 years. But a constant diet of that, at some point, the human body is not made to run on that stuff. Now, again, as with everything in life, the poison is in the dose. So if you're eating relatively healthy most of the time and you're relatively healthy, you don't have really any sickness to speak of, and you want to go out and have a slop pizza once in a while, and you want to eat, fast food, you want to have a couple of drinks, you're not going to be really any worse off for that. But if you think that you're going to eat like shit 6 days a week, and then on Sunday have a salad and think you're doing yourself any good, you got to rethink that. And if you think that you're going to eat like shit 7 days a week, and just because you go to the gym 5 or 6 days a week and you're on a treadmill and you're lifting weights, or even if you're doing calcium, any type of exercise, if you think that that's going to negate you dumping shit in your body day in and day out, it's not. It's not. And only time will tell. You know what I mean? I'm not saying I'm 100% right, but I believe, and really look around. Just look around. If you're listening to me talk right now, I guarantee, if you don't have issues, you have close family members that have a lot of issues. You have friends that have issues, that are overweight, that have fatty liver, that are diabetic, pre-diabetic, that have high blood pressure, on and on and on. And if you don't think that that goes right back to what you don't just wake up one day and have, well, I have high blood pressure. What's it from? Well, I'm under stress. I'm getting older, or, I gained 40 pounds in the last 2 years. It goes back to what you're putting in your body. Okay. And, people don't want to believe that because they're addicted to this food. They don't want to change. They want to think that they could get away with, they're going to go to the doctor, and a doctor isn't going to help you. A doctor is not going to do a thing for you other than give you a pill. And he's going to look at everything as if it's a separate situation. Well, you have high blood pressure, you have IBS, you have GERD, which is another crock of shit. It's all related. It's almost like an octopus. And the head of the octopus is what you put in your mouth. And the tentacles are everything else. It's the pre-diabetes, it's the high blood pressure, it's the obesity, it's everything. It's all connected. It's all connected. The kidney issues, the high blood sugar, everything. It's all connected at the end of the day. So, all right, that's about it, guys. I'm going to go back and see if you guys have any questions here. George, you're taking the black seed oil. Good for you. That's good. Yeah, George, I'm always looking for the sale on the sardines. I get those King George sardines. I usually order them. I actually have them on. I have them on auto ship from Amazon, like I have pretty much everything else in my life. So I don't have to leave the house. I just have them send it. Yeah, Gus, the fast food. Again, really, if you look at the ingredients in that stuff, it's not good. What else can you say? It's just not good. It's not good for your body. Again, if you want to do it occasionally, once in a while, but most of us are doing it way, way, way too often, and you're not going to operate. Your body can't operate for long like that. And Gus, you resisted a chocolate donut today. That's good. We'll put a feather in your cap for that one. Christian, I just saw your question here. Yeah, if you listen to what I said, I do. Yeah, that's what I do. I do 2 meals a day. And as far as carbs, yeah, whatever vegetables I do eat. Again, I have an off and on relationship with the vegetables. but I am a big fan of the sweet potatoes, so I eat those, if not every day, I eat them pretty often. But when you say carbs, I mean, if you're talking about the shitty carbs, like, you know, candy, cookies, cake, donuts, no, I don't eat that. A pill and a bill keep you got it, Gus. You got it. No truer words than that. All right. So yeah, that's it, guys. Again, that's pretty much everything as far as what I eat, how I eat, when I eat. There's not too much else to it. A lot of people consider that boring. And again, a lot of people say, I'm somehow depriving myself, or, I should have a cheat day. Um, I don't agree with that. I don't see it that way. But again, we all have our own opinions and we're all entitled to it. Um, so some of you guys left a couple of questions on the post that I did the other day. Maybe yesterday I put it up. See if I can find those here. I apologize. I do have them here somewhere. I promise. Okay, so I had a question from my friend Mel over at Training Day Network down in Okeechobee, Florida at Rip Right HQ. Make sure you check him out at Training Day Network on Instagram and YouTube. So Mel says, "Why do you work out, and when did you start?" I probably back in early high school. I remember back in the day we had the old rickety universal weight set upstairs in the gym at high school, and I used to tool around with that once in a while, and that caught my interest. I got my first gym membership, which was at the local YMCA when I turned 18, and I kind of never looked back from there. I always pretty much did something throughout my whole life. Again, I always say, I had my ups and downs where I might have gone a little bit without working out, but I can honestly say that from the time, definitely from the time I was 18, I've always done something to some degree. Again, always, at some points a little more, at some points a little less. And why do you work out? Because I like it. I like doing it. I like the way it makes me feel physically. I definitely like the way it makes me feel mentally. Um, Full disclosure, I was a slug yesterday. I kind of took the day off, um, and I don't feel 100%. Even when I do nothing, and that's what I kind of did yesterday. So I got up this morning. I went to the park, and I spent about an hour and a half at the park and jumped some rope. I did some burpees, uh, practiced my handstands, which I don't do that often. But just being outside, and it was a relatively nice day. The sun was shining, and it's just again, you can't say enough for what it does. Again, that everybody thinks about the physical aspect, but there's such a big part, with the mental aspect, and being outside has a lot to do with it, as opposed to being inside the gym. I mean, there's a place for the gym, obviously, but um, it just brings it to another level when you're outside. So thanks for dropping in, Mel. I appreciate you doing that, brother. Gus from Gainbros. This name doesn't sound familiar, but I'll answer the question anyway. I don't know who this guy is, but he left a few questions. I'm gonna have to look him up, see what his story is. So Gus says, "How do you feel physically now in terms of strongest compared to prior years of training?" Overall, physically, I can honestly say, um, without a doubt, I feel better now at 59 than I probably did at 39. Because, I mean, like I said, I always did work out, but my workouts were centered around weightlifting. And like most guys, I think that do that. And again, I got my first gym membership at 18, and to this day, I have two gym memberships. So I've never not been in a gym for the past 40 years. And I think most guys, they have two things on their mind, and that's size and strength. Uh, that everything's all they're worried about is how much can I lift, how big can I get. Um, and I had that mindset early on. Um, and I guess for my size, I mean, I was never going to be in a strongman competition. I can remember back in the day, I believe the most I ever bench pressed was 335 in that area. But again, that's what I was worried about was, how much can you bench? How much can you squat? How much can you deadlift? And, there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to take an approach. Again, the term I use now is functionally fit, especially as you age. Are you flexible? Are you mobile? Because your body starts to break down at some point. So you have to be, as you age, you definitely have to get a little smarter with what you do. But overall, again, I think I mentioned that I've been doing some yoga lately, which I think is life changing if you do that. Because again, a lot of people hear yoga and they think, well, that's like girly stuff. It's just stretching. I don't believe that. I beg to differ there. So I've been doing that regularly, and it definitely helps when it comes to other things. Um, I think I'm more flexible and mobile now than I was 10 or 20 years ago. I think I could say that without a doubt. So yeah, right now I feel good, thank God, physically. You know, as I sit here now, I can say that. But in terms of overall strength, am I going to get on a bench and bench over 300 pounds? No, but that's not what I'm looking to do right now. I'm not interested in that at all. So let's see. Gus has another one here. So Gus says, if I could go back to the beginning of my fitness journey, what changes would I make? I'll just go back a few seconds ago to what I said about, back in the day that everything centered around size and strength. How strong can I get? How big can I get? I would have paid way, way more attention to the flexibility and mobility. I would have definitely done a lot more body weight stuff, calisthenics early on, because I think that the calisthenics really are sort of like a fountain of youth type thing. I, I don't think they beat your body up as much as the weights and stuff. Again, I'll always do the weights to some degree, certainly not to what I used to do, but yeah, I think that would be the big thing that I would go back and concentrate more on overall fitness, not just the size and the strength. Add the calisthenics in. And any skills that I'm training for, if so, how much focus do you put on it? Not as much as I should. Over the past few months, I actually posted, a couple of things where my big thing was where I wanted to hit those muscle ups, and actually Gus and Mel helped me out, got me started with that. So I did some training with that, and back before the winter hit, I was putting a lot of time into it at the park. I did it every day. I was building myself up. I was doing it with the rubber bands and working my way down. And then I liken it to, like, I remember when I was a kid, riding a bike with training wheels. I took the training wheels off one day and I kept falling. And all of a sudden I was pedaling and I didn't realize, and I was going along. And that's kind of what happened with the muscle up. I was trying. One day I hit it, and then, I started going. And then I kind of put them on the back burner. I didn't do them. I did them sporadically. And I'm kind of frustrated now because I mean I was hitting them on a regular, and now I don't know. It's almost like I forgot how to do it, and I don't think that it's anything to do with strength because I don't think I've gotten any weaker in the past few months. It's almost like I forget how to do them to put all the steps together. So I want to focus more on that. And also lately, I've been trying with the handstand, and that again, I should be doing that pretty much every day. If not close to every day, which I definitely don't do. I was messing around with it this morning, and I actually hit for the first time. I believe it was just shy of 10 seconds, but again, I was on home turf, so I'm going to round it up to 10 seconds. And I actually hit my first. Let's see if I can bring this up here. So this was the first time where I got anything really that resembles a handstand. So yeah, that's one that I really want to concentrate more on is that handstand. And again, what I notice is with something and all of these skills, really any type of skill that you're trying to get, the the flexibility and mobility part really comes into play. Um, so yeah, those are really the only two. I've been watching some videos on that front lever and all, and they're all on the bucket list at some point. But I definitely haven't been putting as much time into them, as I should have been. Uh, and then, do I prefer routines or random freestyle workouts, and why? Uh, that's a good question. To be honest with you, I mean, a lot of days I'll like this morning. Again, I didn't do anything yesterday. I was a bit of a slug, so I went to the park this morning. And to be honest with you, driving over there, I kind of had no clue what I was going to do until I got there, and I still couldn't decide. So I started doing jumping some rope and doing some burpees. Um, I'd have to say more of a random freestyle at this point. Um, when I'm at the gym, I'll still do that full body routine where I'll just kind of like start with the shoulders and work my way down and do and that's pretty routine where I'll just follow I'll do that. But as far as being at the park or even sometimes at the gym, I'll just go and I'll walk in and really not have any idea what I'm specifically going to do. So I guess I'd have to say I lean more towards the random stuff, the random freestyle stuff. All right, guys. I think that's it. That was all the comments that I had left. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to drop them in. See if I could. George, did I get a word? Yeah, I just explained that. Yeah, this morning I was at the park. ZZ's in the house. Appreciate you being here. Yep, Gus. Yeah, that's what you have to do. You just hit the nail on the head, Gus. You consider food as fuel. What's going to fuel your body best? Especially somebody like you that has a high, you have a high training frequency. Um, So you really have to look at what's gonna, what's gonna fuel your body best, for the workouts that you're doing and stuff. Again, that's not to say that you can't go out and have that pizza once in a while or just go off the rails a little bit. But generally speaking, you have to, I always say, like, if you're doing well 70 to 80% of the time and you go off the rails here and there, I think it's going to balance out, and I think you'll be fine. But you hit the nail on the head that you have to look at that food as fuel, and again, Pop Tarts aren't fuel. They're not. Christian, the main benefits of calisthenics over the gym. I think I just addressed that to some degree. Uh, I don't think the calisthenics beat your body up as much as the weights could. Like I said, if you concentrate mostly on that size and strength aspect when you're in the gym with the weights, a lot of people get themselves in trouble. Uh, just go on YouTube and look up gym fails and deadlift fails, and people are really messing themselves up just for the sake of saying a number. I deadlifted this or I deadlifted that. I think that for overall fitness, functional fitness, I think calisthenics are the way to go, especially for most people, because you know, bottom line is, and you can't argue this, that 75% of us adults today are overweight or obese. And calisthenics, body weight stuff, I think that's the way to go. If you're looking to add some exercise to your life, for somebody that had, because it's really simple. You can't mess it up. You really can't. You do body weight squats, you go down and you get up. Push ups, same thing, and some type of pull, and you have it. That'll get you started. As far as cardio, um, I, I I don't do regular cardio. I think I've mentioned before, and in a couple of my workout videos, I say you'll see that a lot of times when it comes to the rest periods between, if I'm, even if I'm doing, say, like a 20-minute workout, I'll just set the clock and just start going, and I don't have any set rest periods between each set, between each round, and I find that keeps my heart rate up, so that I get a cardio benefit there. I have an elliptical here at home, and I use that periodically, but I'm not on it for, I don't go on marathons on it. I'll just be on it for 10 to 15 minutes. I do the same at the gym. I jump a lot of rope. I jump rope, to warm up a lot. Um, I have a weighted jump rope, and I use that. You've seen, I've used that in a couple of my videos here and there. And again, this morning, I did some burpees with that, and I think that's sufficient cardio right there. But I certainly don't run regularly. Maybe go for a walk here and there, but that's about it. Appreciate you popping in, Christian, and leaving that comment. George, what is my favorite food to eat? Um, right now, I'm partial to, I'll do some ground beef, and maybe I'll throw some sauce on it, some red, marinara sauce or something. Add a little cheese, and that's it. Now, if you want to go back in the day, um, you know, 3 McDonald's cheeseburgers, 10-piece nugget with sweet and sour, and a large Coke. But the 59-year-old version of me is going to say, maybe ground beef with some sauce and cheese and, something like that. Um, but back in the day, I was partial to that. I was a big pizza fan. I actually worked in a pizzeria growing up when I first started high school over in Manhattan on right on Third Avenue between 30th and 31st Street, and I pretty much grew up eating pizza. So who doesn't like pizza? Gus, you traded in those Chips Ahoy. Those were on my favorite list too, the Chips Ahoys and Oreos for the peanuts. That's good though. That's a very good switch. Good for you. Yeah, David, you're right. Look, you see these gymnasts, the bodies on these gymnasts, it's unbelievable. Yeah, David, you're right. It was free pizza every night. I had it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at some points. George, I just had this conversation with my daughter without getting too far in depth. A lot of people hang their hat on that Ezekiel bread. Um, I've had it, and I'm not going to say it's inherently unhealthy, but for somebody that has that, a lot of people that are diabetic or have sugar issues and things like that. If you were to test yourself with that, a lot of times that Ezekiel bread, if you have sugar issues, that's going to spike you just as high as some regular bread. So you have to be careful with that. A lot of people, I know Ezekiel bread is something that people say, well, it has a protein content and it's Ezekiel bread and it's healthy and again, I'm not going to say that it's bad that everybody has to stay away from it, but that's something that you should definitely be aware of. David, you doing tuna, pepperoni, ham, peppers and cheese. There you go. Oh, are you talking, David? Are you talking about on your pizza? Tuna on your pizza? That's a new one. I never heard that one. All right, guys. I don't see any more questions. I hope I didn't miss any questions in the chat. If I did, pop them in real quick. Christian, what do I think of the keto or the carnivore diet? I think they both have their place. Guys, can you let me? It looks like my camera's screwing up here. Can you let me know? Um, Looks like I'm blurring out here. All right, looks like I'm back now. I'm sorry, Christian, back to you. What do I think of keto and carnivore? Definitely both have their place. Keto diet is actually over like 100 years old. They developed that years ago, um, and they used to feed that to epileptics because that helped to curb the seizures that they had and all. And I think they used it very successfully up until like the 1930s when they started developing obviously the medication. So if they have pills for it, they're not going to tell you that food is going to help you in any way, shape, or form. The problem today is it's almost become like a cult, and I don't like to use the word extreme, but it's a way of eating. I don't think it's an unhealthy. Excuse me. I don't think it's an unhealthy way to eat. I think it's a good way to eat. But I, I find that a lot of people will do it for some length of time, and then they'll kind of knock it off. It has to be something that's sustainable. And I think that if you're relatively healthy, you're at a relatively healthy weight. I think that as long as you're eating, again, it goes back to what I said, the whole unprocessed foods. If the bulk of your diet is that, you could have a good mix of, meats and vegetables and and you don't really have to worry about, well, is it a carb or not? If you're doing like a good balance. I've done like keto-ish type eating before. Um, but again, I think it's to an extreme. You're eating such a high, when you do keto, you're looking at like 70 to 80% of your calories coming from fat. Um, Almost not zero carbs, but whatever the limit is on the carbs, 20 to 30 grams a day, which is pretty much nothing. And then your proteins, coming from the rest, the 10 or 15% protein. Um, so people are successful on it, but you can do it, but you have to look at it. It has to be something that you could sustain for the long haul. In the short term, if you want to try it and see if you get any benefits from it, definitely. I don't think it's an unsafe way to eat. I think it's a healthy way to eat for some people, for a lot of people. As far as the carnivore, and again, like these things, keto and carnivore, even the vegan thing, uh, being a vegan doesn't I don't find that appetizing. But again, at the end of the day, I can't argue with somebody that's doing any type of eating and they're healthy. But if you have any type of sickness and you're going to tell me, well, no, it's not because of the way I'm eating, well, I'm going to tell you that you're full of shit. You know what I mean? Unless you've changed the way you eat to try and fix the problem. But these things, the vegan, the keto, today, everything is keto, and they make all these processed things now to the keto, which is a crock. And the carnivore people, and I can't argue with somebody that says that they're successful, or that you can cure, or reverse a lot of health issues eating keto and carnivore. But are you going to do it over the long term? Are you going to do it for the rest of your life? Either one. Are you going to be that restrictive? I don't think that most people have it in them to do it. In the short term, again, and then if you want to be a carnivore, but it's almost like it's like they become like cults. You know what I mean? And everybody wants to. It's almost like sports fans. I'm a Yankee fan, or I'm a this fan, and I'm a diehard this. And when people latch on to something, if you start eating keto, or you start eating carnivore, and you lose 10 pounds, now you're telling everybody, oh, that's the best way to eat, and the only way to eat is carnivore. Well, talk to me in 3 or 5 years when you've been doing it religiously for that length of time. And, you know, I think I'm safe in saying that the vast majority of people don't do it and can't do it for that time, because and they'll find some type of excuse. Well, I was carnivore for so long and it was great. I fixed this and I fixed that. But eventually, most people are going to fall off. So I think that, again, any type of eating, any of those diets that you mentioned, they definitely have their place. They can be beneficial. But then I think at some point, the best way to be is some type of balance between uh, the proteins and the fats and the carbs. Yeah, Gus, I was being censored. I do rated R live streams. I should have told you, lock the kids up. Don't let any of the kids watch. No young kids. Yeah, David, that's the thing that gets me is, you'll have vegans that are eating God knows what, jelly donuts, and then they'll tell you, yeah, but it's vegan. That's nonsense. So, Derek, say that fast 3 times. Commercialization, it destroys almost everything. You're absolutely right. Christian, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I'm not. I don't have an aversion to any way of eating other than the standard American diet. Well, most of us are eating. You know, again, to me, the vegan diet, what I know of it, I don't find it appetizing. But I can't, and I certainly wouldn't point in somebody's face and say, "What are you eating vegan for? That it's not healthy. It's not this. It's not good." I can't say that because I haven't tried it. Um, Carnivore, I I eat meat, and I can't tell anybody that being strictly carnivore is not the way to go. To give it a try, absolutely, absolutely. Especially if you have health issues, because anything, if you switch to any type of diet, I don't care what it is, other than the standard American diet, your health is going to improve. It, that's as close to a guarantee as you can get. If you get off the standard American diet and you go to any other type of diet, the point I'm trying to make with these diets, carnivore included, you probably will see your health improve, but are you going to be able to do it for the long term? If it's something that you want to do to try and fix something, and there's a lot of things you could fix from it. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence when it comes to any of these diets that they can help. But my point is it something that you're going to do for the rest of your life? Yeah, David, the UK, pretty much everywhere in this, is Mexico's a mess. China, the diabetes rates, it's just unbelievable. It's all over the world. There's no getting away from it because the standard American diet. It's just they're bringing it all over the world, and it's destroying people's health, destroying it. That's it, Gus. If it grows or it's born, then it's probably okay. You're absolutely right. Agreed, 100%. All right, guys. Anybody have anything else? If not, we're going to wrap it up. I appreciate you guys being here as always. Um, Again, I'll mention for some of you that were asking about the Old Dog merch, you can go to olddogfit.com, check that out if you're interested. Also, check out some great merch from the Gainbros, from my friend Aldo, Crusades of Motivation. The links to their merch is going to be down below. Yeah, George, the whole organic thing, I don't know which way to go on that. A lot of people hang their head on that. Well, it's organic, so it's healthy, and I could eat all I want. And um, when it comes to the organic stuff, everybody thinks, well, there's no pesticides, and this. They actually can still use pesticides, but you can only use up to a certain amount, and who knows if they're adhering to these guidelines. So, I really don't have an opinion on that. I get what I can when I can. Um, if I see the sweet potatoes or any type of vegetable that says organic, most of the time I will grab it. Am I being jobbed? There's a good chance, but who knows? All right, guys. I guess we'll wrap it up. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., check out the Gainbros channel with my friend Gus and Aldo from Crusades of Motivation. We're going to be talking shit and getting fit. That's every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. If you guys are around, pop in. Feel free to jump in and work out with us. And that's it, guys. Again, I always appreciate you guys. I appreciate your interaction and all, and everybody being here. Everybody have a good weekend. Make sure you get your reps in, and I will talk to everybody in the next one. Thanks, guys.